call them box and whisker plots, but the algebra, coordinate algebra, we call them just box plots. Okay. Now, in order to do box plots, basically what a box plot is, it's a diagram, and it shows quartiles, and it also shows extreme values. Now, when you hear the word quartiles, I want you to think of the word quarter. Well, quarter means to divide by 4. There's 4 quarters in a game. There's 4 quarters in a dollar. Okay? Quarter means 1 out of 4. Now, quartiles, we're going to divide our information into 4 equal values, or 4 equal sets, or 4 equal distances. The extreme values, we talked about these the other day, those are your outliers. Those are the numbers that kind of are the lowest number and the greatest number of your set. We should all know what the median is. That's the center of your data. When you see the letters LV, that stands for least value and greatest value. Now, interquartile range. Range is the highest number minus the lowest number. So the interquartile range is going to be the difference between the upper quartile, which we're going to call that Q3, and the lower quartile, we're going to call that Q1. It'll make sense when you see the diagram. Okay. And the outliers, those are numbers that are like, kind of don't hang out with everything else. We talked about outliers the other day a little bit. Like if every test I scored was a 90 and then I scored a 50 on one test, that 50 would be an outlier. So this is what a box plot looks like. Okay. We call the Q1, which is the upper quartile, would be the left side of the box. Q3 is actually the right side of your box. The median is also known as your second quartile, and your maximum is your fourth quartile. So this would be Q1. This would be all the way to Q2, Q3, and Q4. When you look at a box plot, the center line is always where the median is. Now, some box plots won't be as evenly distributed as this one. You might have some that look like this. Give me a second. Oops. Why aren't you writing? There we go. You can have some that look like this. You can have some that look like this. Okay? They're not always going to be perfectly symmetrical on each side. Now, each part of your box plot, each part of your box plot represents 25%. So this would be 25% of your set. This would be 25% of your set, 25% of your set, and this would be 25% of your set. So if I said, what covers this amount of space, you would say 50%, because 25 plus 25. If I said, what percentage is in this area of your set? Well, you would say 25 plus 25 plus 25, which is 75%. If I said, what percentage of your set covers just here? You would say 25%. Okay. So let's talk about how we build a box plot. If you're given a certain set of numbers, okay, the first thing you want to do is put those numbers in numerical order. Okay. These numbers are already in numerical order for you. Now, the next thing you want to figure out is the median. To find the median, guys, you don't really have to use any math. You just find the number that's in the center. So let's find our median. We have 10 numbers. So if we have 10 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that means the median would be right here. You have 4 numbers here and 4 numbers here. When you have 2 numbers in the middle, you always take the average of those 2 numbers. So the average of 13 and 15 would be 14. So 14 is my median. Okay? Now, the Q1 and Q3, that's the median of each side. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little 14 right here. Now, to find the median of the other side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to block out the other side. So I'm going to block all this out. And I'm going to ask myself, what's the middle number of these? Well, the middle number of these would be 20. So that's my upper quartile. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Whoops. So we now take those and block them out and find the median of the other side. Well, the number in the middle of these 5 would be 9. So that's going to be my lower quartile. Okay. That's pretty much the hardest part. Now, the LV and GV, that's easy. LV stands for your lowest value, so my lowest value is 7. GV would be my highest value, which is 44. Okay? Now, the good thing with you guys doing online learning is a lot of the stuff will be done already on the computer. You're not doing it on your paper and having to build it from scratch. So a lot of it's going to be kind of fill in. What I mean by that is I'll already have the number line provided for you. So, yeah.
So to find the median of Q1, do we start counting from, for example, the middle number is 14, right?
So I'll show you real quick. I cover up all this. I don't worry about this number up here because that number isn't really written there. So I want to find the middle number of these 5. Well, the middle number would be 9. You don't, does that make sense?
Yes, sir. So, like, how do you know to start counting from 13?
Because 13 and 14 are my middle numbers. So basically, this was my median, so I look to the left side of the median. So these are my 5 numbers. So what's in the middle? You have 5 numbers, so that means 2 on each side, so that means 9 is in the middle.
Oh, got it, sir.
Cool. Alright. So, we start at 7 and our highest number is 44. So, I don't want to make a number line that's like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's going to take too long. So, I'm just going to make a number line. And again, the number lines will be provided for you. So, my lowest number is 7, so I might start at 10 and just make these go in multiples of 10. So, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So, remember step 1 was to align them in order. Look at step 2. We want to determine our median. So that's going to be the center of our box. So at 14, which is about right here, I'm going to make the center of my box. Then I'm going to do my Q1 and my Q3. That's going to be the left and right side of the box. So Q1 is 9, which would be about right here. Q3 is 20, which would be about right here. So that's my box. Now, my greatest value is 44. My lowest value is 7. So I extend and I extend. So let's look at what this means. All right, when you look at this, that means 25% of my numbers were between 20 and 44. 25% of my numbers were between 14 and 20. Another 25% of my numbers were between 9 and 14, and then the last 25% of my numbers are between 7 and 9.
Bro.
Basically, this gives me a visual representation that says, hey, where was majority of my numbers? Majority of my numbers were between 9 and 20. Okay. When I look at this, if I say, hey, what's the highest value of my set? The highest value of my set is... If I said, what's the range of my set? It would be the highest number minus the lowest number. Okay. Now, one of the things that we didn't talk about in the previous slides was quartile range. Let me show you what that... Well, actually, I did talk about it. Let me show you real quick. Quartile range, which is called IQR, interquartile range, is always the third quartile minus the first quartile. So whatever this number is minus this number. So if I said, well, what's the IQR? That's new for a lot of y'all. The IQR would be this number minus this number. So Q3 was 20, Q1 was 9. So I'd say the quartile range is 11. All right. So what I want to see that you can do for this one, let me just double check real quick. All right, with this one, we have an odd number of values. Okay, so again, the first thing you want to do is put them in order, which I've already done for you. Actually, yeah, they're already in order. So what I want you to do first is find the median. See if you can find the median for this. All right, the median should be 38. So if I'm taking a multiple choice test and I have to pick the box plot for this, I would want to find a box that has a line directly over 38 in the center. Now, Q1 and Q3 are done a little differently with this one because when you cover up the median and the other side, you're left with 4 numbers. So to find Q1, we cover up the median and the other side. And we basically ask ourselves, what's the middle number of these 4? Well, there is no middle number of those 4 because there's 2 numbers in the middle, 18 and 22. So you have to take the average of those 2 numbers. So what's the average of 18 and 22? What number is directly in between 18 and 22? 20. So my Q1 is 20. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to see if you can find the median of those 4 numbers. So when we look at these 4 numbers, those are the 2 numbers in the middle, because there is no middle number, because it's 4 numbers. So you have to take the average of 45 and 57. So 45 plus 57 divided by 2. You get 51. Okay, now the lowest value and the greatest value, that should be pretty easy for everybody. The lowest value, well, that's easy, that's 12. The highest value, that's easy, that's 63. So really, guys, you're not doing any real, you're not doing a lot of hard math with this. You're just trying to figure out where each number is. Again, the first thing you got to do is put them in order. Once they're in order, find the number that's in the middle. If you have 2 numbers in the middle, then you have to take the average of those 2 numbers. So the middle number here is 38. Then cover up the median and the other side and find the median of those 4 numbers. So what I meant by that, if you weren't paying attention earlier, cover this up. What's halfway between 18 and 22? 20. Do the process over here. What's halfway between 45 and 57? 51. So since we know our median, and we know our Q1 and Q3 and our lowest value and our greatest value, go ahead and make a box plot on your paper. And if you want to know what kind of number line to use, it goes from 12 to 60. So let's go ahead and make these go in units of 10. So we have 10, 20, 25, 30. Actually, I said 10. I don't know what I was thinking. Me not smart today. Alright. 30, 40, 50, and 60. If it helps you, put a little dash for the 5s. Okay. And again, guys, you're going to get some practice with this with your Delta Math activity for today. All right. So our median is 38. That's the center line. So we're going to make that, you can kind of guesstimate it be about right there. Q1 is my left side of the box. That's at 20. 51 is my right side of the box. Now, 12 is my lowest value. 12 would be about right here. 63 is my highest value. That'd be about right here.
No, it doesn't, but where's the
Okay. So if I looked at this and said, how many numbers